Welcome and thanks for logging on to WYCC.org for In the Loop, the After Show. Our guests today are Kyle Hillman, CEO of Kyle Hillman Strategy Group, Lauren Blair, blogger and partner at Peterson and Haupt Law Firm, and Congressman Danny Davis, representative of the 7th Congressional District. Hello, everybody. So the police superintendent, Gary McCarthy, here has pressured police, according to a report in the Chicago Tribune, to issue many more contact cards when the police encounter citizens and don't make an arrest. Congressman, is this a fancy way of saying the Chicago police are engaged in stop and frisk?
Well, I think it's a better way of displaying transparency in terms of recording and reporting what the police officers are doing. And so I applaud the superintendent for this initiative, and I think it's going to help and it's going to bring some light on what actually takes place. I think stop and frisk, of course, has its problems, and I've been a victim of it.
And what do you mean you've been a victim of it?
Well, I was stopped apparently one night for no reason other than the fact that I was driving a car. And we called it driving while black.
And that...
I went to court, I got a lawyer, I did the whole work, I was exonerated, and it never should have happened in the first place. But of course, every citizen will go through all of those changes in order to prove that they were correct and that it should have never happened.
Lauren, is that at the heart of the conflict where many of or most of the people who are stopped in these situations happen to be brown or black?
Well, absolutely. I mean, certainly there's a concern that this will lead to profiling and race-based, suspicionless stop and frisks. But I will say that I believe that there was a sampling of some of these contact cards. It's difficult to get the information under FOIA because the way that the cards are...
Freedom of information.
Yes, freedom of information. In Chicago, the detail as to why there was a stop or a contact is contained in a descriptive narrative filter. So it would be unduly burdensome for the government agency to produce that to the public. However, in New York, it's my understanding, their contact cards have a box you can check. Was there a stop and frisk? And some other easy identifiers to compile a database to get that information. It's my understanding that the ACLU would like that same kind of database established in Chicago to make sure that we're not veering dangerously into stop and frisk, suspicionless, unlawful stop and frisk territory.
Now, police say this is a valuable crime-fighting tool, but critics say this is just a way to alienate people who may provide police with valuable information in other circumstances. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we have a violence problem in this city, and we don't have the funds to actually get to the root of why that violence is becoming. And so we create these extreme measures to try to attack that violence. I'm not a proponent of this tactic. I see it in my neighborhood. I live in a mixed neighborhood of Rogers Park on the far north side. It isn't the white kids that are getting pulled over. You see it, it's just a kid riding his bike. It is the brown, it is the African-American kids that are walking by that get pulled over, that you see that are getting frisked, that are getting their cards pulled, that they're getting their information. The tactic, like I said, we have this violence issue and the city doesn't know how to fix it. And so this is one way to try to break into this cycle of violence. I just don't think it's probably the right way to break into the cycle.
But the police say, and Congressman, that it has solved some major crimes, including helping solve the killing of Adiah Pendleton here in Chicago. The information that was on those contact cards identified the vehicle that the alleged suspects used.
And there are instances where I would certainly agree that it is very helpful. And we've had the problem for years and years and years of trying to foster better relationships, reduce the level of suspiciousness within certain communities as police carry out their functions and do their work. Anything that we can do to improve that, I think in the end run, will be helpful. And while certainly it's not a perfect system, it's not a perfect way, but it is something that I think can be helpful.
All right, we'll switch gears here. This week we learned that Chef Charlie Trotter had died. He had closed at age 54. He closed his world-renowned restaurant last year. Congressman, how great a loss is this for Chicago?
Well, I think it's a tremendous loss. I can't say that I was a regular diner at Charlie Trotter's restaurant, but I experienced Charlie Trotter because I've gone there several times with students who were in culinary programs in the Chicago public school system and some private culinary programs. And Charlie always came and addressed the group, explained to them what this wine is about and what this dining is appropriate. And so he gave great public service in addition to the tremendous cuisines. And he was a great trainer and a great chef.
And Lauren, didn't he really begin this whole trend of the modern celebrity chef?
I think he did. And for it to happen in the Midwest, in our great city, when usually those folks come out of New York or California, I think it's a testament that he stayed in Chicago, where he had his roots, and really helped put Chicago on the map, culinary speaking.
I mean, his story is really incredible when you look at it. He was a dyslexic. He was a culinary school dropout. He learned his craft working in various kitchens and opened his restaurant at age 27. So when you think of that, I mean, the story is very inspirational. And Kyle, he certainly touched off a trend, if not here, worldwide.
Sure, and when you look at the food that's in the city, I mean, we have some amazing restaurants, we have some amazing chefs, and there's no question that Charlie Trotter falls into that, that history of what made Chicago food and culinary so great. My bank account was never large enough to afford Charlie Trotter. I never got a chance to experience it. But I'm confident that the legacy that he left on will continue with some of the amazing chefs that we have and some of the new ones that are coming in.
That trained in his kitchen. I
Yeah.
mean, people like Grant Achatz and
Absolutely.
Amazing talent that has come out of there. What do you think his ultimate legacy will be?
A great teacher, a tremendous advocate, a great humanitarian, and a person who had enough impact to help Chicago be classified as a world-class city.
All right, we'll leave it there. Kyle Hillman, Lauren Blair, Congressman Danny Davis, thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.